If someone asked you right now, what is the difference between a coin and a token? Could you answer? Most people in crypto cannot. They use the words interchangeably. They call Bitcoin a token. They call Uniswap a coin. They buy something called a token without having any idea what it actually represents or what rights it gives them. That confusion is not just harmless. It leads to bad investment decisions, missed opportunities, and in some cases, real financial losses. Because coin and token are not the same thing. They are fundamentally different. And once you understand the difference, you will look at every asset in crypto differently. Today, Coin Explained breaks it all down. What a coin is, what a token is, the 4 types of tokens that exist, and why the difference matters more than most people realize, especially in 2026 with regulators now paying close attention to which category each asset falls into. What is a coin? Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, the originals. Let's start with coins, because they are the simpler concept. A cryptocurrency coin is a digital asset that is native to its own independent blockchain. It exists on its own network. It is the fuel that powers that network, and it cannot exist without that blockchain, because it is part of its foundation. Bitcoin is a coin. It lives on the Bitcoin blockchain. Every time a transaction is processed on the Bitcoin network, a small amount of Bitcoin is paid to the computers, called miners, that verify it. Bitcoin is not just a currency you can buy and sell. It is the essential mechanism that makes the Bitcoin network function. Ethereum's native currency, Ether, or ETH, is also a coin. It lives on the Ethereum blockchain. When someone deploys a smart contract or sends a transaction on Ethereum, they pay a fee in ETH. Without ETH, the Ethereum network cannot operate. Other coins include Solana's SOL, Cardano's ADA, and XRP on the XRP ledger. Each one is native to its own blockchain. Each one is fundamental to how that blockchain operates. Coins primarily serve 2 purposes. First, they are the medium of exchange and store of value for their network. Second, they are the economic incentive that keeps the network running and secure. Creating a new coin means building an entirely new blockchain from scratch, which is enormously complex and resource-intensive. That is what makes tokens different. Because tokens take a shortcut, a very powerful one. What is a token? Built on top, not standalone. A token is a digital asset that is built on top of an existing blockchain, rather than having its own. Instead of creating a new blockchain from scratch, a developer writes a smart contract on an existing network, usually Ethereum, and that smart contract defines the token. How many exist? Who owns them? What rules govern their transfer? All of that is encoded in the contract, deployed to the blockchain, and from that point, the token exists. This is why there are so many tokens. Creating a token is relatively straightforward. You do not need to build a blockchain. You do not need thousands of computers to secure your network. You just write a smart contract, often using a standard template called ERC20 on Ethereum, and your token is live. Tokens rely on the blockchain they are built on for their security and infrastructure. An ERC20 token built on Ethereum benefits from Ethereum's network of thousands of nodes, its security history, and its massive user base, without having to build any of that itself. But here's the critical distinction. A token is not the fuel for its blockchain. When you use an ERC20 token on Ethereum, you still pay transaction fees in ETH, not in the token itself. The token is a passenger on the Ethereum network. ETH is the engine. And unlike coins, which primarily function as currency or network fuel, tokens can represent almost anything. That flexibility is what makes the token ecosystem so vast and so varied. Which brings us to the 4 main types. The 4 main categories make immediate sense. Type 1, utility tokens. These give the holder access to a specific product or service within a project's ecosystem. Think of them like an arcade token. You buy the token. You use it to access the rides. It has no value outside that arcade. Chainlink's Link token is a utility token. It is used to pay for data services on the Chainlink network. Binance's BNB started as a utility token for discounts on trading fees. Type 2. Governance tokens. These give the holder voting rights over decisions about a project's future. If you hold enough governance tokens in a DeFi protocol, you can vote on things like interest rates, new features, or changes to the rules. Uniswap's Uni token and Compound's Comp token are governance tokens. They give holders real power over billion-dollar protocols without any traditional corporate structure. Type 3. Security tokens. These represent ownership of a real-world asset, shares in a company, real estate, bonds, or other financial instruments. They are the digital equivalent of a stock certificate. Because they represent ownership rights, they are subject to financial regulation in most countries. This is the category most closely connected to the tokenization world we covered in an earlier video. Type 4. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. Unlike every other type of token, where each unit is identical and interchangeable, an NFT is unique. Each one is different. Each one represents ownership of a specific item, a piece of digital art, a music track, a sports highlight, a gaming item, or increasingly, a real-world asset like a property deed or medical record. Real examples of each type in 2026. Utility tokens. Link powers the Chainlink Oracle network that feeds real-world data into smart contracts. Without Link, the services that most DeFi protocols depend on would stop working. BNB gives Binance users discounted trading fees and powers an entire blockchain ecosystem, now called BNB Chain, to governance tokens. UNI is the governance token of Uniswap, the world's largest decentralized exchange. Holders vote on how the protocol evolves. In 2026, governance token holders in major DeFi protocols are making decisions about billions of dollars in pooled assets. Decisions that used to require boards of directors and shareholder meetings. Security tokens. As we covered in the tokenization video, BlackRock's Butyl token represents shares in a money market fund. Franklin Templeton's Benji token represents shares in a tokenized treasury fund. These are security tokens, digital ownership certificates for real financial assets, regulated by the SEC and accessible on blockchain infrastructure. And NFTs. While the speculative NFT boom of 2021 to 2022 has cooled, the underlying technology has found serious practical applications. NBA Top Shot sells officially licensed basketball highlights as NFTs. Artists use them to sell directly to fans with built-in royalty payments. And in 2026, NFTs are being used for concert tickets, luxury goods authentication, and property ownership records in pilot programs across several countries. Each of these token types serves a completely different purpose. And knowing which type you are looking at tells you everything about what the asset actually represents and what risks and opportunities come with it. Here is why this distinction is not just academic. It has real financial consequences. Regulation is the most immediate reason. The SEC in the United States has been aggressively pushing to classify many tokens as securities, meaning they should be regulated the same way as stocks and bonds. If a token is classified as a security and was sold without proper registration, the project behind it faces legal consequences, and the token can lose most of its value overnight. In 2026, the regulatory environment is becoming clearer. The Genius Act provided a framework for stablecoins. The Anticipated Clarity Act is expected to establish clearer rules for when a digital asset is a security versus a commodity. Knowing what type of token you are holding and how regulators are likely to classify it is increasingly important information for anyone investing in crypto. Risk profile is the second reason it matters. A coin with its own blockchain, like Bitcoin or Ethereum, is not dependent on any single project succeeding. The blockchain itself has value as infrastructure. A utility token, by contrast, is only as valuable as the platform it belongs to. If that platform fails or loses users, the token can go to zero, regardless of how well the broader crypto market performs. An opportunity is the third reason. By 2026, token standards are evolving rapidly to handle legal rights, asset representation, and on-chain identity more cleanly. The line between coins and tokens is blurring. Some tokens are launching their own blockchains and becoming coins. Understanding where each asset sits in this ecosystem helps you see opportunities that most casual investors completely miss. A coin is native to its own blockchain. A token is built on top of someone else's, and tokens come in four main types: utility, governance, security, and NFT, each serving a completely different purpose. That distinction affects regulation, risk, and investment potential in ways that matter enormously if you are putting real money into the crypto market. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell. Next week on Coin Explained, stablecoins. What are they? How do they hold their value? And why are governments around the world suddenly racing to regulate them? See you there.